Hi guys, so this is the continuity of the previous video, which is how to answer your final paper for asm504. Okay, for this video, it is focused for part C, how to answer part C. So you have to take a look into this set of question. You have to read carefully. When we talk about situational question, yes, all the information or the answer should be based on the situation. Okay, that's how situational question be made. There's no such thing that you can come up with your common sense or something that are off topic. You have to make sure that the way you answer your section C question is it must be related to the situation. Okay, and you have to read the question carefully. You have to make sure that you come up with the answer that the question want you to come up with. Okay, let's take a look at this. Question 1 for section C. Identify and briefly explain 3 characteristics of winning team applied by Encik Kim Tan under his supervision. So you look into the marks given. It is 7.5. So you have to make sure that you know how to divide those marks. 7.5 and 3 characteristics of winning team. So, and you have to look at the question. The question here asks you to come up with identification and explain. So there were 2 things that the question asks you to come up with. So and it should be 3 characteristics, and the mark is 7.5. So so you have to use your critical thinking and how this marks being divided. So logically, for identify, it is mostly is 1.5, and is very seldom the answer, the mark for identification is more than 1. Okay, most of the time it's either 1 or 2 or half. So for this purpose, this question, for the identification is 1, whereas the explanation is 1.5. So each 1.5 and 1, so it means that each of characteristic consists of 2.5 marks. So 2.5 multiplied by 3, so you got 7.5. So this is how we answer the question. It is based on the marks as well, and you have to be very careful what is the question wants. So for this one, they not identify and briefly explain 2 things. So please make sure you come up with the identification. For this case, clearly and inspiring goal is the identification. So this student got 1 mark for the identification, whereas the explanation should be 1.5, but I didn't read yet, so I don't know whether this fellow will get 1.5 or not, but it depends on the complete explanation on clearly and inspiring goal. Okay, and take a look into question number 2. Cite an example of each identification above from the situation given. So it is actually based on the question from A1, and AB is continuity from this question. So for A2 is actually want you to cite an example of each identification above from situation given. So you say that for question A1, you say that there are 3 characteristics of winning team, which is clearly inspiring goal, principle, leadership, collaborating climate. And section 2, A2 question, whereas it is asks you to justify actually why did you say that the 3 characteristics is clearly inspiring goal, principle, leadership, and collaborating climate. So this is where you justify your answer by cite an example. So when the question come up with a cite here, it means that you need to find out which statement from the situation referring to your answer for this one, characteristic of winning team. So for this student, they come up with the certain example. They took an example from this situation, which is shown that this one is actually the statement whereby it shows that Mr. Kim Tan have used this characteristic of winning team under his supervision. So, and I hope you understand. Most of the question is quite similar for section C. It is for this one you have to describe, identify and describe. So tengok 2.5 means that what? It depend. if the question what identify and briefly, and the total mark is 2.5. So basically identification is 1 and then explanation is 1.5. Okay, that's why I dapat 2.5 here. Okay, it's similar to identify and briefly. Side example is similar to the one that I told earlier. It is 1 mark. It shows that side example for this one, so dapat 1 mark. Okay, and I hope you understand what does it mean. Okay, you take a look at D. State and briefly explain 2 forms of bullying demonstrated by Encik Bala. It is 4 marks. So when you talk 2 and the marks is 4, it means that one answer, 1 form is 2. Okay, for this one, you have to state and briefly explain. State is similar to identify. Okay, so for this student, they come up with aggressively. So this one is the state and then explain. So when they have a 4 marks, that means that for aggressively got 1, got 2, I got 1, and then the explanation about 1.5. So 2 for each. So for both is 4. And then look at the question D2. It is an example. So you need to justify when you said that the form of bullying being used by this Encik Bala, it is aggressive. So which part of the statement in the situations that mention that Mr. Bala have used aggressive type of bully? So this is how you answer. For further explanation, I think you may ask me, and I hope based on this video, it can help you to prepare for your final exam. Anyway, good luck guys.